Adventurelands Part 7. When I got to the front door of the school, there was already a small mob flooding in. I'd seen this happen every year, but this time it looked completely different. After all, for the first time, I was part of that crowd. I slipped into the growing mass of students, trying to blend in as much as I could, while attempting to keep my eyes out for anyone that looked like they might make a worthwhile friend. Unfortunately, as soon as I mixed into the crowd, all my plans evaporated. I struggled to pay attention, but found it impossible. For the first time, I wished I weren't so sensitive to magic. After all, these were all of the most talented students on the continent. I was practically drowning in a sea of their combined power and teenage angst. There were too many people and far too many hormones flying around for me to successfully focus on anyone. I just kind of slipped into the stream of students and figured I'd find time to make a friend later. The whole class moved surprisingly easily into the main auditorium. I sat in the first open seat I found and tried to turn to say hello to the girl next to me. As soon as I saw that she was a stranger, I lost my voice, and I just sat there, awkwardly looking like a creep. After a few moments of staring at her, I turned to face forward, embarrassed by how I'd just been acting. When the headmaster took the stage, she did so with such an overly grandiose gait that I could recognize her by her pointlessly dramatic footsteps alone. She was unmistakably my pain-in-the-ass mom. Under the bright stage lights, her short white hair gleamed, the exact opposite of mine. She'd always wanted me to cut her hair short like hers, saying, "Long hair is for little kitchen servants. Short hair is for warriors like you will be." She spent more time trying to raise me than anyone else, which to her meant making sure that I was fed, trained, and yelled at whenever someone thought they'd managed to catch me breaking another stupid rule. As good as I am, I'd never left a shred of proof behind anywhere, so a lot of teachers have blamed me for a ton of stuff that I had genuinely had nothing to do with. It started to happen so often that whenever somebody went to the headmaster with a complaint about me, she'd just blow them off, because half the time I'd been with her all day. Generally, whenever somebody got away with anything, they assumed it was my fault. I'm not saying they were always wrong, but they didn't have to blame me for all of it. When Headmaster Mom finally started speaking, I was relieved, because at least all the attention was directed up at her. I had heard the old woman give this speech more than a dozen times already, so I thought that I'd be able to recite every word she was going to say along with her. "Thank you all for gathering here today. I'm your headmaster. My name is Beep." When she spoke her name, everyone could see her lips moving, but the only thing that anyone could hear was the same loud, annoying sound that they used to cover curses on TV and radio. Of course, I know her real name is Headmaster Egwene Dragon. It's printed clearly on her office door, but she likes to make students put in at least a little effort to discover her name before they ask any stupid and/or annoying questions. As you know, the primary purpose of this school is to train at least a few of you to become PKers. Whenever a player goes too far and breaks a game rule, a PK team is dispatched to deal with the situation. Every PK team is balanced and trained to deal with every kind of player possible, precisely because if you live long enough, you'll run into every kind of player there is. Some are genuinely good people, but made some kind of honest mistake. Some are as evil as sin, but able to trick even the most skeptical of us into loving them with just a few choice words. Your job will be to play the game better than they can, and make sure you always deal with every situation as efficiently and fairly as possible. The holo recordings of your actions are always available to any player who doesn't have a current warrant out for their arrest upon suspicion of breaking one of Xander's rules. Should any player criticize your actions or question your motives, they're allowed to review any of your security files. Since your actions will be a direct representation of the church and state, anytime your motives or actions are questioned, A full review will occur to make sure that you weren't breaking any rules yourself. Therefore, all PKers are forced to interact with a crystal heart upon graduation. Along with the heart injection, new PKers are presented with a specially grown crystal. It will react to your new heart and grant a boon to your abilities. Since they are marked by the rules of the game, anyone who uses an examination skill can see if they are official. They mark you as an on-duty PKer and grant you all the authority that that title comes with. If a player equips one taken from a PKer, the original owner's name will be visible to anyone who examines it. While PKers can only equip their own crystal, any player can equip all of those they've collected. They just can't use more than one boon at a time. You can wear them however you'd like. Some people prefer a crown or tiara, others a necklace or ring. However, every PKer must wear it in the center of 3 5-pointed stars. That will serve as your badge, your official badge of office. It's how you announce to the world that you are a PKer working directly for the GM and the kingdom. Now, do any of you have any inane, boring questions that I'd rather not answer? Or can we get straight to sending everyone to meet their teachers for what we pretend is the first day, but we all know nobody does anything on the first day? So, everyone will just wind up introducing yourselves and listening to some stupid things, or, oh, who cares about. Who cares? I've done too many of these already. Hands up if you have a question that I don't care about. That last part surprised the evil out of me. She'd never done that before. Thankfully, no one raised their hand. Mom wore a look of relief for a moment before her normal visage of contempt for the world replaced it. Oh, thank good. Now, everyone, get out of here. I'm sick of looking at your young faces. I'm going to my office for a nap.